Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael Khan II, and with me, as always, is...
It's Sesame, Karachi, and Cardiff.
Okay, you're sticking with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I like it. You know what you seek is seeking you. Just letting you know that, okay?
Okay, I hope so, because I'm seeking treasure, so I hope that treasure is seeking me.
Now, is that the name of like a stripper you know or something, or is this?
Yeah, but I was actually specifically referring to like gold and silver and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no offense to her, but I'm seeking like riches, you know, like diamonds and
riches,
whatnot.
like guys named Rich.
Yeah, exactly. I'm seeking riches, something, because it's a riches what his house. I don't know, and then
yeah.
No,
you're seeking several guys named Rich, and
yeah,
and a woman named Treasure.
No, not woman named Treasure. I told you I'm seeking.
Oh, okay. I'm not understanding this.
An actual treasure box or trove, or could be both even. Why not? Greed is good, according.
What is a trove?
I don't know what it is. It's just something. And then I think a treasure trove is more like the hiding place where a bunch of treasure is like loosely there, like not like in a box. So it's like a cave maybe, where it's like a bunch of treasure like just hanging around. You know what I mean? I think that's what a treasure trove is.
A trove, according to the Oxford Dictionary, is a store of valuable or delightful things.
So it could be a box then, basically.
Yeah, like somewhere you're storing, all your valuables.
Yeah.
So it could be like a jewelry box. Could be your treasure trove.
I kind of like I like the phrase treasure trove more so than a box. But anyway, maybe some emeralds, or I can hit up Elon Musk because he's the inheritor of an emerald mine, and he acts like he's a self-made billionaire.
So he has a mine named Emerald.
No, emerald mine, like as
okay.
Is it like miners who are digging for like emeralds?
So underage people.
No, well, it could be actually, because I think slave labor was involved. So they probably don't have strict laws when it comes to child labor. During that time of apartheid South Africa.
That's true.
His dad bought said emerald mine from a couple of Italian businessmen that just happened to be standing by themselves in the middle of nowhere. And then they're like, "Hey, bro, do you want to go buy like half an emerald mine for us so we can go splitsies?" And his dad's like, "God damn it, son of a bitch, I'm in."
I was just hoping that this was like a mime who like Emerald Lagasse became a mime.
I mean, that would be pretty cool.
Then it would be an emerald mime.
So would he just have to like paint himself emerald green and then
or just paint himself up like a mime and then do his cooking shit?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
But he couldn't say bam.
Well, no, because you're a mime, you can't talk. But that would be really hard for him, actually, I think, because he's so used to saying bam.
So it's probably not going to happen.
It'd be like so much self-control that he would have. You know what would be a really cool thing to review?
What's that?
Is the Emerald TV show that he was on, that he did.
Oh, it's on my list.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was terrible.
Yeah, we'll get to that eventually. But speaking of a show that's actually good,
yeah, exactly.
Miss Marvel episode 5 is what we're covering today. The episode was entitled Time and Again. It was directed by Sharmeen Obaid Chinoy and written by Fatima Asghar. So, yes. What were your thoughts on this episode here?
I loved it. I thought, it could have been a little bit longer, but
True.
well, even then, I think the pacing was all right. But I thought it was good. I mean, I thought it was probably my favorite episode so far of the series or season. I am a little bit worried. Marvel has an issue with wrapping things up too quickly, so I'm worried that's what's going to happen with this show as well. Seems like they can't find the right place to land, even though they've done like 18 shows
I don't
already.
know why I don't know why lately they've been sticking to this 6-episode format.
Yeah, it's like, why not just do 8 even? I mean, that
or do as many as you need. I mean, it could be whatever. And I mean, a lot of people are like, a lot of people are critical, and I know that there are episodes of like CW superhero shows where they're spinning their wheels and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Because they have like 20 episodes a season or something. But I think the good spot is like where Legends of Tomorrow, rest in peace, had like 13 episodes a season.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying we need a full-on 20, 22 episodes like Arrow would have. Yeah, because, that does, you're spinning the wheels and you're kind of just a bunch of filler episodes. Yeah, but like 6, it just feels too short for me for these kind of episodes. I would think 8, 9, even 10.
I mean, 10 would be good. I mean, even like, like shows like Barry or Righteous Gemstones or stuff on HBO Max, or HBO. I mean, in general, they'll have like 8 or 10 in a season, and that's pretty good. Yeah.
It is. It could tell a story, and as long as if you're telling the story good and with the right pacing, it can work. Because I like the Flash, especially season 8. I really think fixed season 7. That was a travesty of it. But I still haven't finished. I still got 2 episodes left on season 8 of the Flash. So I'm really looking forward to watching those 2 tonight, maybe, or something. But realistically, we really did not need 171 episodes of Arrow. We did not need 180 episodes of the Flash, or however many that season series has. But there's a huge difference between 180 episodes to tell a story and 6 episodes to tell a story.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel has not. I mean, luckily, has not announced yet if this is going to be the only season of the show. Though they haven't like other series. They'll announce, like Disney and Marvel will say this is a limited series. They have not called this a limited series.
Okay,
so
I know he's getting season 2, so that's cool.
I mean, this could possibly go the Loki route and get another season.
Okay,
yeah, which I hope it does. It'll be interesting to see where. I mean, if they do anything before the Marvels movie comes out more with her. She is currently appearing elsewhere too. Same actress and everything. Disney has a ship called the Disney Wish.
Okay.
Which has a dining room that's all like Marvel based, like stuff. And there's like screens a screen that you watch this little thing going on with got Ant-Man and the Wasp involved, and then there's stuff going on the deck of the ship that they cut to and stuff, and there's like Ultron is attacking them. I watched the whole thing online because somebody filmed it. So I might put a link to that in our show notes. There's Miss Marvel shows up in her whole completed outfit that we have yet to see in the series.
Yeah.
And she's fighting like on the deck of this ship with Captain America, Sam Wilson. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah. He calls her an Avenger at one point, and she's just like all excited, and he's like in training.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, and Captain Marvel's in it too, but they do not interact.
Oh.
So that's kind of interesting. So
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the ship isn't just like Avengers based, though. It's like Disney in general. Like they have like a frozen like dining room too and stuff like that, and they have like I guess shows and stuff. But then they have like at the end of this thing, two people dressed up like Ant-Man and the Wasp come out and they have pre-recorded voices obviously because it's not it's not Paul Rudd and what's her face, so it's Evangeline Lilly. But they recorded dialogue and these people are like mimicking to it, but with their helmets on. So
Oh,
yeah, but it is kind of cool. I will link that in the show notes. But anyways, back to this show. I did really like this episode. It's probably my favorite. I liked this week and last week pretty good, even though we are away from Jersey, which I hope we get back to, which I think we will be getting back to next week.
yeah.
So why don't we talk about what goes down in this episode? What happens here?
Sure. Well, the ending of last episode, Najma stabs her bangle, and it kind of like puts her in the past, or at least a past memory of the last night of partition, where everybody was clamoring to get on the last train to Karachi, and then it kind of just ends that way. Trains whistling, a bunch of people, saying goodbye to each other and stuff, because one guy said he's too old to travel and just gave his son all of his money. Really, really sad stuff. That's what happens. When countries split apart. I know people joke sometimes of like, oh well, we should just split up into two different countries. It's like, do you realize how devastating that would actually be? Like, where people have to cross borders, and it's no, it's not a good idea. But anyway, so we find out though that this is actually happening. This is not a memory. She's running into people, and then we get this really cool sort of backstory thing going on where Aisha's running away.
Well, first we start out. We've got the Marvel logo turns into this really cool sepia tone newsreel at the end, and we get this really cool newsreel at the beginning of the episode where they talk about the partition and that following 200 years of British rule, India was split into a secular state with a Hindu majority and Pakistan, which was reserved for Muslims. There were violent outbreaks and a mass migration. Yeah, and so there was 200 years of rule from British people.
And the British just pretty much just left the whole place in shambles and just left, and then so everyone, there was like no law basically, so people were just literally picking up their torches and pitchforks. Like India, they were, the extremist Hindus were burning down all the homes of the Muslims and their fields and crops and stuff like that. Which I always love how like there's like the stereotype that like Hinduism's like the most tolerant religion in the world, and it's huggable Hinduism, and it's like it doesn't seem very huggable when they're burning down the houses of Muslims. I'm just saying, but then at the same time you had Hindus leaving the area of Pakistan because that's going to be a Muslim majority country, and it's just like I just love how people have been living in society for like 10 to 20,000 years, and we still haven't figured out how to like live together at this point. It's quite sad, actually. It's all. Yeah.
It's sad. It's part of human nature, unfortunately, it seems.
Yeah. Tribalism is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't want to hamper on that.
No,
but
well, let's get into the episode. But we got this really. I thought the newsreel thing was kind of cool though, because it gave some people a little bit of background that we didn't have. I mean, it's like I had heard about the partition, but before this, but that was it. And I may have gotten some information from like the Gandhi movie and stuff prior to this, but yeah,
that movie. Good. By the way, the actor who plays Trevor was in Gandhi. Or played Gandhi.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
but there is this whole thing where a lot of this stuff, like I was talking earlier with my dad about this, is how like there's so much stuff in like world history and American history and whatnot that we just don't learn in school that much about. I mean, obviously they can't teach us everything because you only have so many limited hours in a day. but there are things that you're just like, really, that happened, and the fact that it happened in the 1940s, was only like 80 years ago or something. So it's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really not that long ago, and it is a really like sad history if you read about it. I mean, I've only read a little bit about it, and it's even more sad because so like India was supposed to be a secular country with a Hindu majority, and Pakistan was supposed to be a Muslim country, but the founder of Pakistan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he did not actually want it to be an Islamic theocracy. He wanted it just to be a country where Muslims could feel safe and live
Yeah.
and kind of be a culturally Muslim country. But then, of course, after he died, subsequent leaders they kept turning it more and more into a theocracy, which I'm not sure why that feels familiar right now. Anyway, and you know, but and so yeah, we got that cool part, that cool film thing, and then we get like all the like the different language because like they did the Miss Marvel thing twice actually. They did the like Kamala, but then like they started telling Aisha's story, so then they did like her, like she was the Ms. Marvel of her generation type thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They did it twice. Based the intro, like where they showed like the different languages, like Hindi and Urdu, and Tamil or
Yeah.
Tamil, and various different languages in India at that time, or even still to this day.
Yeah,
Because
and it was cool. Like the logos did start out too with Miss Marvel written over a British flag.
yeah,
That
so that was
that
interesting.
that
Yeah,
that had bullet holes in it.
yeah. Oh, yes, that was
Mm.
really interesting symbolism. So anyway, so we got Aisha running away. This is probably right after the scene where the cave was crumbling and they all went their separate ways, and a British soldier's chasing her through like the woods or whatever, and she eventually throws a knife at him and kills him, and whatever he was
Well,
gonna
yeah,
shoot her, and then she finds she's just kind of finds herself in like some random town or whatever, and she's there's this guy kind of doing like a speech. He's like got a cane, and he's basically like a follower of Gandhi, sort of, and he's just kind of talking about like don't don't let the British conquer us by through like divide and conquer by splitting, getting like Muslims and Hindus and Sikhs to like fight each other so that we're can't so we're all distracted from pushing them out of our country type of thing. So he's kind of like an activist basically, and or a political activist, and then the British soldiers come in there with like a megaphone and they break up the meeting or whatever, and then she's kind of staring at him, and she ends up falling asleep under a tree that happens actually to be like he pretty much owns like a farm or like a bunch of
a rose
a,
farm. Yeah,
whatever patch or garden or not garden
yeah,
field, and he kind of taps her with his cane, and she says, she'll break his leg if he ever touches her again. And he's like, oh, well, that's fine. I don't really even use this leg that much anyway, or
yeah.
whatever. And he offers her food and stuff like that, and shelter. And then she's, kind of standoffish for a while, but she eventually kind of puts her guard down. And then we kind of have a time jump a little bit. We find out she's pregnant, so that's
Yeah,
Sana.
and his name, yeah, and his name is Hassan.
That's right, Hassan, her son.
Hassan,
Yeah, she's
Hassan, and
Aisha.
yeah,
Uh,
played by Fawad Khan, Fawad, Fawad. How would you pronounce that?
I'm not, I would have to see it spelled to
Yeah,
know. I'm not sure.
yeah, it was Fawad. So Fawad,
Or
Fawad.
Fuad.
Yeah,
Maybe it could be Fuad.
Fawad. Yeah. Anyways, he's I guess a really like a heartthrob in Pakistan.
Okay.
Yeah, he's in his 40s, and he's I mean, not to sound like I like dudes, but whatever. He's very charismatic. You know what I mean? And I could see why
I
he's a
mean,
heart.
yeah,
I can see
he's a
why he's a
handsome
heartthrob
dude. I
there.
mean,
Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
I didn't know he's in his. I would have thought he's in his 30s, but like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. He's like maybe in his 30s, late 30s, early 40s, somewhere around there. He was born in the early 80s. So yeah.
okay.
So yeah, it's but yeah, he was very charismatic, so I can see why he's this big heartthrob in his home country. So I really hope they start casting him in more things in America because he's,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see a person who looks different in movies. If that makes sense.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, there's only so many movies that Chris Pratt and Tom Cruise can be in. I'm just saying.
I would see Chris Pratt playing like in like a Pakistani
Yeah.
movie. Like, come on, like you got your own movies, okay? Like, just, like.
But anywho, yeah, they basically they've got she's with child in the scene, and we realize that it's obviously that's going to be Sana. Yeah. So what happens then?
We got another time jump where Sana's a baby, and the unrest is getting more ridiculous in India. There's the Hindus they're basically boycotting Muslims, so they're not selling things to them, or they're not buying products for them. Which is very reminiscent of Nazi Germany, where they had the boycott, where they wouldn't buy stuff from Jews. And
yeah, which was going on around the same time.
Yeah, it was literally going on the same time. It's also interesting too, is the Nazis tried to go in India at some point because they had this idea that maybe Indians were also Aryans, so they're trying to do their whole Nazi eugenics science on them.
Yeah,
but they concluded that the modern day Indians aren't true Aryans or whatever. Who knows? And then they also went into Tibet. I think did the same thing. They did all kinds of dumb phrenology shit, like measuring people's skulls and crap like that. That was a whole pseudoscience during that time in the 19th century, and then the Nazis revived it because they're idiots. But also reminiscent of early Islam, and because that's what the polytheists did, to the Muslims when they were still in Mecca before they moved to Medina to start their own community there. They did a whole boycott. They wouldn't sell anything to the Muslims. They wouldn't buy anything from them. So they pretty much were just like being starved out essentially. And that's interesting too, because Hindus are kind of polytheistic, or at least some of them are. So it's almost like a repeat of history in the sense that you got.
And then Hinduism has had the swastika as a symbol at one point before the Nazis adopted it too.
The Nazis totally screwed that up, and they even kind of angled it a little bit differently.
Yeah. And there was this this whole thing of there was like this Hindu nationalism that was very influenced by Nazis and stuff. I listened to a whole podcast about it a while back. So yeah, it's very.
It still is. I think that's the ruling party now of India, actually. Yeah, they rule India now, so it's like a lot of this stuff. It's like not just historical; it's happening right now again.
Yeah,
because now in India, I think in India now, I'm not here to try to throw shade on India particularly, but it's saying like Pakistan's got its own problems, but like, and obviously so does our country. But like, yeah, in India, I think now you have to be vegetarian. I think that's the law of the land now. I think that's the requirement to be vegetarian.
Then there's this woman, Savarti Devi, who was like big like lover of Hitler and stuff too. So
and she was a white lady too, wasn't she?
She
I think she was, and then she took off.
She was originally Maximina Julia Portas. Yeah. I think she was like French or something.
So we got cultural appropriation plus that's the ideology at the same time.
Yeah, so it's interesting things going on there that a lot of people don't know about. But yeah.
Oh yeah. So I mean that's a rabbit hole in itself.
Yeah.
Right
so let's not jump down that yet. But yeah, we'll go back to Miss Marvel here.
Yeah. Sorry. So he's listening to like a radio program about the riots going on. He turns it off. He's like bitter, and then their friend next door, who's Hindu, he knocks on the door and gives him some food, and Hassan's like, "Oh, tell him to keep his charity. We don't want it or whatever." And he's like, "It's no problem or whatever," and and it's like don't talk like that. It's like you're starting to sound like the British or whatever, and he's like, oh well, that's easy for you to say. They're not. Basically because you're Hindu, you're in the majority, so you're not the
Yeah.
one being persecuted, and so he's like, which happens. You get this sort of bitterness towards people who even are your friends because they're not being hurt, but you are. So then you start
Well, that's what they
projecting,
wanted. They wanted a divide and
yeah,
conquer sort of thing, So
start projecting that frustration or hatred onto your own friends just because they're not being hurt like you are. It's that which again, that's a human response as well. Because it's a lot easier to be mad at your friend who's standing right in front of you than the government who you can't do anything to change. So Aisha's like, just like, don't worry about him. He's just really upset about everything.
yeah.
So he's like, oh, it's okay, I understand or whatever. So then Sana, I mean, sorry, not Sana. Aisha, she also sees someone else standing out in the field. So she goes out, and then it's Najma finally caught up with her, and she looks and sounds very sinister, like, oh, this is where you've been hiding this whole time, and they're like, oh shit, we're gonna have like a showdown here, and but then she hugs her, and then kind of does the whole ultimatum thing, like, "Oh, you want to go home, don't you?" and stuff like that. It's like Najma's very devious. Like she's
Oh
so
yeah.
like she'll hug you and she'll be like affectionate, and then like in the next breath, it's like a threat, and it's just
Yeah.
like
She'll hug you and stab you in the back at the same time, basically.
yeah. So she
Yeah.
basically tells her, you got until sundown tomorrow to find that bangle because she lied and said that she had to hide it somewhere or whatever, but she's got it in her house. And
Yeah.
when she was Najma, why wouldn't have I just walked into the house and checked myself? Like, but whatever. TV
Unless she
convenience.
didn't want to cause a scene or anything.
Well made, but I don't think Najma care
Yeah, I
about
don't.
that.
She probably wouldn't care. Yeah,
But
but she is very patient. She waited.
well, the thing is, because Aisha had an excuse because initially because they were all like running from the
Yeah.
British, so she didn't automatically assume that Aisha was running away from her. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that was kind of an excuse, I guess. Which I'm not really sure because if the dude from the Red Daggers was able to quote sense the Noor, you know, from Kamala, and she'd only been there for like a day, how was Najma not able to like sense the Noor of Aisha for like 10, well, more like 2 or 3 years or whatever?
Or
You know
even
what I mean?
or even after that,
Or
Sana.
yeah, like so that's I don't know, that's kind of a weird
Yeah.
maybe a mistake, but whatever. Uh, so so Aisha then she's the one saying we need to move now, and
Mm.
Hassan's kind of like not really buying it because he was literally the one that's been saying we need to leave this entire time, and Aisha's saying no, we need to stay, and then
Yeah.
suddenly she's we need to move, and he's like, what are we really running from here? Like
Yeah. And she's like, you never asked me what I was running from in the first place. And the thing I
yeah,
wonder
exactly.
too is like if she wouldn't have met Hassan, um, would she have still been running? Or would she have tried to
Uh,
go back? I mean, is it because she fell in love? Did love stop her from going back, or was she actually really running from Najma to begin with, or was it that she was running away from the soldier and then fell in love and now had a purpose to stay on Earth?
See, I don't know. I think it may have been that because I don't know if she knew. Um, well, I don't know. See, that's the thing because you needed the two Bengals to do the thing right.
Yeah.
So she knew that she wouldn't have been able to do it on her own anyway.
Hmm.
So
My thing
you
is,
know,
where is the other Bengal?
yet who knows? That's the good question, right? Who knows
Yeah,
where it belongs or who has it or
guess we can talk about
if,
that in speculation. But yeah,
if it has it. I don't even know if it even exists. Who knows? But so like yeah, I don't know if she just like found a new purpose in life, or it's possible that she may have not even known it was dangerous to you know maybe Najma was the one that did all this research about how to actually do it and what it
yeah,
would actually entail, because Aisha just seems even before she started running that she was too kind to like destroy the world
yeah.
to what I mean, like she just didn't seem like she had that kind of personality, whereas Najma, anything, by any means necessary type of. I also noticed too. Have you noticed that throughout the subsequent episodes that Najwa's face seems to get more like darkened, like not dark as in like skin tone, but like almost like a shadow.
Yeah, the way
Like
they're lighting her.
it almost like seems like they're making her look more evil with
Hmm.
each episode. Like not by color skin based, but
Yeah,
just like a lighting
I
issue or
understand.
whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So anyway, so what else happens after that
Okay,
then?
so she's insisting that they leave, and they she she comes clean about her magic, showing him the bangle by demonstrating her powers. Um, she insists that Hassan get Sana on the train no matter what happens, and he insists that nothing is going to happen, like nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah.
So while they're trying to get on there, Aisha separates from her family, um, basically to protect them from Najma because Najma is determined to find her in the Bengal or find the Bengal. Um, while doing that, she Aisha gets stabbed by Najma, um, because Najma believes she's betraying the clandestines.
Mhm.
So she goes searching for the Bengal, and in this whole chaos, Sana is somehow separated from her father.
Like the story
Yeah,
that they
that they've
that the
told, and
famous story.
and Aisha's there dying, and she's grabbing onto this photo that has her husband and her baby in it, and her, and she keeps looking at it, and then she just casts out this spell by saying the words from the poem earlier, that what you seek is seeking you.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because Hassan was like pretty
Had
much
told a
wooing
poem.
her,
Yeah,
like reciting poetry to her. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, apparently that still works, guys. So I don't know. You know,
Well, maybe I don't
just
know. It worked in the 40s or whenever that was, the
yeah.
30s or
I mean,
40s.
no,
So
it's
yeah.
maybe now you need to make a TikTok video or something. I don't know, but like,
Hmm.
or
Yes.
I don't
Maybe
know.
maybe rap a love song or something. I don't know what.
A mumble rap, no.
Yeah. Um.
Um, I don't know.
uh. So she keeps uttering that. That's what's inscribed that we learned in the last episode is inscribed on the Bengal. Um.
Yeah.
And so then Kamala comes back, and she finds Aisha dying, and Aisha tells her everything she needs, before she's passing away, basically saying, that she needs to save Sana. And
Mhm.
so basically, Sa- um, she reaches Sana. She finds Sana, like, who she's like yelling out for her mom and dad, like, um, and she's lost, and like all these adult sized people are walking by, and she could easily get trampled because she's like what, like 2 years old or something,
Yeah. Yeah. Something like
Yeah.
that.
So she's which is sad, just to know that that probably did happen to actual kids
Yeah.
like her age. Um, and so it ends up being that Kamala is the one that helps her to back to her dad using her powers,
Yeah.
even though the story was told that it was Aisha. So
Right.
yeah,
Or something, or just something in general that
yeah, some
you know,
stars guided her, and so
and that,
basically it was her
yeah.
powers that led her back to Hassan.
Yeah, and also the reason why it was stars is because she was doing her block things, like
Hmm.
stepping ladders or whatever, stepping stones.
Yeah,
But then she got knocked over by some guy or whatever, and then it like
became
it
stars.
basically like she lost her power, her control or whatever, and then that's why they all looked like little stars basically. And then And then she was like, "It was me. It was me the whole time, or whatever." Uh, and then so do you want to continue? Or do you want me to jump in
You
or
can go
what?
ahead.
Okay, cool. So yeah, she's like, you want to play a game or whatever, and she's like, yeah, yeah, okay. I can't do stars. I can do these little things though. So then she's got then she gets knocked over. Stars goes to her dad, and then she wakes up and she's back in the present. Then, and then we find that like the veil has been opened like somewhat. So not Najma. I forgot the other lady, the black lady. I forgot her name. Oh shit! I only knew Najma and Adam. I didn't really know the other names.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really get their names too much, you know. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
she might not have a name.
Well, she walks in first. What's that?
She might not even have a name. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
In the story,
I thought they all had names, but maybe not.
Yeah.
It So she walks in first, and she pretty much just gets turned into dust, and then Najwa's like, "Oh, I can do it." After I just saw my friend like die right in front of me, but I can do it because she's so arrogant like that, I guess,
Yeah.
that she thinks she's special and got more power. So then,
I mean, I backed out one time, but I saw my friend rock right into a furnace, and
yeah,
I thought, hey, I'm not gonna burn up.
yeah.
No, that
I
didn't
mean, yeah,
happen.
it happens.
Because
So
that's
like,
basically what she's doing. It's like, what the
I know it's ridiculous.
hell?
And so Kamala gives the whole speech of like, "You don't need to do this," and you destroyed my family, but you still have Kamran, and she basically like, I don't know how, but she like, I guess, transfers her essence into Kamran
Yeah,
right before he walks through the veil
yeah. Maybe we'll find out
to
more
like
next week.
close it.
Yeah,
So I don't know now if that was like Najwa having a change of heart and she's closing the veil, or if it's she transferred her power to Kamran so that having them two combine together to have more power to then open it again. I don't knowing Najwa, she probably doesn't give a shit, so she probably just did it as a uh it's kind of weird if you think about it though, because now you got the essence of your own mom inside your body. It's just kind of weird, but like,
yeah. It's like I
okay,
don't know if it's an essence or just the powers that transferred. Who knows?
well, it could have been both, or maybe just the powers. I don't know. But now,
Mm-hmm.
so now Kamran's got his like luminescence type of thing going on a little bit. It looks like from the comic books, like the way his hand kind of
Yeah,
glows, it looks different than like Kamala's powers do. It's like,
yeah. It's different than Kamala's. Yeah,
and this is different because these are like natural powers that just now belong to Kamran. Like he doesn't need a bangle or any kind of device to activate it. It's just
yeah,
him. So now he's like the more powerful one. So I'm hoping he's not going to turn evil and then type of thing, or get possessed by his mom. Even that could
yeah.
be a factor. Well, because and we find out too. So I'm kind of jumping ahead, actually, aren't I? But so am I jumping ahead? Or not, no, because then her mom and her mom and are having like a fun conversation where they're like, I keep calling, like she's not picking up, and her cousins are like, well, why don't you just go in like the phone thing and track her phone? And she's like, you could do that, like spyware, but for parents. And he's like, kind of.
Yeah. It's like, why am I now just finding out about this? Is what she was just like.
Why am I now just finding out about this? So they track her phone down, and she sees her like doing her powers or whatever. So she's like, are you that night girl or nightlight or whatever light girl thing? And she's like, who's that boy? Like she cares more about this guy she's hanging out with than like
So yeah, she asks you, you're that light girl.
yeah, you're that light girl, because they still call her nightlight or hard
Yeah,
light or whatever, these dumb names. And then her grandma's there too with her. And also, so we find this cool thing where she goes and leaves to say goodbye to Kareem, or was it? Yeah, it's Kareem, I think.
yeah,
And um, Muneeba, her mom, picks up Kamala's necklace, and now it's got the shape of her kind of like her logo or whatever.
Yeah.
lightning bolt thing or
Did you
whatever.
did you mention that
Uh,
she gave the photo to her grandma?
oh, that's right. Yeah, she gave. Yeah, because Sana said that the only picture she had was with her father, and she
Yeah,
drew a picture of what her mom
looked
looked
like.
like, what she
Yeah,
could remember. Yeah.
yeah. But so we've got this symbol here now created, the lightning bolt type symbol
Mhm.
um in the necklace. Then makes me wonder if that's going to inspire, because we did find out in the previous episode that Muneeba um made costumes and stuff for her friends and stuff when they were younger.
Oh, okay.
So it makes me wonder if her final costume is actually going to be made by her mom. So then we have we we did have this we did find out too that I forgot about this that um oh, what's his name, Kareem is wanted by the U.S. government.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So anyways, we get back to the house, to the grandmother's house. We find out that we're looking at some old pictures of Muneeba when she was around Kamala's age, and we find out that she wanted to go off to chase that music star, Bruce Springfield,
Huh.
which was was actually Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
And then so then what happens here?
Let's see here. We we get back to the States. By the way, Bruce Springsteen's a better musician than Bon Jovi, but no matter.
Yeah,
And then we get back to the States. Kamran shows up inside of Bruno's like studio apartment, I guess, or whatever. And then he basically asks him if he can like just stay there. And Bruno thinks it's just for like the night, but he wants to just basically live there until his mom like picks him up from clandestine school or whatever. And then I don't think he knows that he's got like her essence in him now or something like that. I don't
no,
think so.
he probably
Hold on.
has no idea that she's dead.
Oh, okay. Sorry, someone was talking to me. What was that?
And he probably obviously has no idea that she's dead. Obviously, So, um,
Yeah, so Bruno's like, oh, she's not gonna come back for you, blah blah blah, and he's like, you don't know her like I do, or blah blah blah, and Bruno's like, yeah, well, my parents aren't exactly around either, so he's kind of just sort of projecting his own pain maybe onto.
and we had learned because they wanted to start over their friendship, and we do realize that Kamran actually thought that Bruno's name was Brian,
Yeah,
so it wasn't him trying to be a dick.
no,
Um,
it wasn't. It was just a mistake.
yeah,
And then Drone shows up from the DODC. I guess they were tracking him or something, and then he instinctively kind of just aims his arm and at it, and it just kind of blows it up. And then Bruno's like, "Wait, you have powers too?" And then like as soon as he said two, it like cut off and the like huge explosion. So like, oh god, we just blow up the Circle Q and the apartment complex or whatever from his untapped power essentially. Maybe he used too much, didn't know
yeah. Hopefully they
how to
didn't blow
control
everything
it.
up. Um,
Yeah, and then that was it. That was
well,
that.
yeah,
And
and
then they get
and and,
credit.
and Bruno's like, "You have powers too," so yeah, it's like, what the. So that's how we end. Um,
Literally explosion. So it's like, oh god, hopefully no one got hurt or you
yeah.
know, yeah.
So
And
why don't we just jump into speculation? I'm not going to take a break in this episode, so why don't we just
okay.
jump right into speculation here? Because I'm just wanting to talk more about this. What do you think's going to happen in the finale, or hoped that happens?
I think they're gonna go back to Jersey probably. Either we can have a showdown between Kamala and Kamran slash Najma, maybe taking over, possessing his body, or maybe they're facing off against the DODC, or maybe they're both gonna face off against the DODC. or maybe they're going to fight each other for a while, and then the DODC is going to catch up with both of them, and then they're going to join forces to, kind of stave off the DODC, and then Kamran's going to be able to maybe kind of like escape his mother's sort of possessing of him or whatever, and just become like his own person, or who knows,
Yeah.
because I read that he kind of was a bad guy sometimes in the comics, so I don't know.
Yeah, I hope they don't turn him into a villain, especially not in the last episode of the season.
Yeah,
Or
so
that
I
he
don't.
just,
Yeah, I
um,
don't really know what else.
I
I
mean, I
kind of
mean,
hope.
basically, our bad guys are the DODC, um, that we have left because all the clandestines are basically dead, and
Yeah,
except for Cameron. Um,
yeah. So I don't.
so
I don't know.
yeah, and then yeah, I mean, I think an interesting thing because we got like Secret Wars coming up soon too and stuff.
Okay.
So it might be interesting if maybe the what is it they're the Kree and the what's the other Skrull, if it's one of those people in disguise that are actually the DODC,
Yeah.
depending on who's going to end up being the villains in the Secret Wars, because they're both kind of good and bad.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so I'm thinking that maybe the DODC is like Skrulls or something for the possible Secret Wars that is coming up and stuff.
Mhm.
I don't know. Who knows? That could possibly be. Maybe that'll be revealed in the episode, or I don't know. I'm still hoping that we get like Carol Danvers or something in the episode.
Yeah. Well, aren't the Skrulls supposed to be kind of the good guys though now? In
They
this,
well, they were in Miss Marvel, but maybe
or
that was
Rotten.
just. But it could have just been some of them because
Oh,
obviously, just because some are good doesn't mean they're all good.
well, no, but they're also working with Nick Fury and stuff. So I was
Well,
just wondering.
yeah, but it might not be all of them.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I
Yeah.
mean, just like on Earth, we have assholes and we have good people. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of hoping no, they'll also wrap things up with the stuff that was going on in the community, because that seems like they kind of just dropped that story
oh,
after
I
the third
know.
episode.
They
I'm
need to do
hoping,
something. Yeah.
well, I'm hoping we'll know about what happened to Nakia, whether or not she's on the mosque board member. 'Cause that was a cool storyline that I wanted to know more about,
Oh, I know.
especially if the DODC was like disrespecting the mosque by walking in there with their shoes on, and that very culturally insensitive, type of stuff
And
like
we
that.
do need a reconciliation there too between Kamala and her too, because the
Yeah, so it's
yeah.
I hope that they're not just gonna skip over all that, and
Hmm.
you're like, because again, like I was just thinking of like the Moon Knight finale, like lately, and I was like, how disappointing now that was, where it's like, we had like two great episodes of building things up, and then was like the rest of the show now is in Egypt, like like and
And then we have like, I mean, it seems like Marvel does that a lot with their last episodes. Like I liked the last episode of Hawkeye.
yeah, that was good.
That was a good episode, but like, and I kind of like the Falcon Winter Soldier last episode, but you know, when you go back onto that show, it's like not as necessarily a great, show overall, like pacing
Yeah,
wise.
it
But
wasn't.
in WandaVision, I didn't really like the last episode either, as much as the rest of the series. So
Yeah.
they do drop the ball a lot on the finals, so the finales. So yeah, we'll see what they do, and we can talk about it next week, and hopefully that'll be a good one.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts or anything before we wrap things up?
No, just maybe learn more about other cultures and stuff like that, if you interested in like sort of maybe the background to the show of like her Pakistani Muslim culture and heritage and things like that. If you want to, if you don't want to, whatever. But it kind of gives you a little bit more sense of just understanding, I guess, a little bit. The sort of like the unspoken things.
Yeah,
Within the show itself. Uh, but I like learning about other people. Maybe other people don't. That's their thing, but I like to. and associate with other people and kind of just, you know, I don't know, learn. I'm sound kind of stupid right now. Just learn from them, because you know, not every culture has all the answers to life and things like that. So if you associate with more people, you actually learn some things that you don't know, which I know is a bad thing these days. But like, you know, I don't think it's a bad thing, but
No,
society
it's
thinks
not a
it's a bad
bad thing, but some people think it is.
yeah, some people say, yeah.
But anyways, yeah, just I mean overall, just be good to each other, people. Learn from each other. Um, anyways, check out all2real2.com for all of our stuff.
On that
Yeah,
note,
check out our TeePublic. I was recently on a podcast too that you might want to check out. Called the Family Fright Night Horror Podcast. I think that's the correct name of it. I'll have a link to it in the show notes. Um, yeah, I'm talking about the 1978 Halloween movie because we had to talk. They asked me to talk about my favorite horror film, and that's at the moment my favorite horror film. It changes, but yeah. So we talk about that and a lot about the Scream franchise and a lot about the Halloween franchise in general. So that's a good listen if you get a chance to listen to that. If you like hearing my voice, if you don't, well, I don't know why you're listening to this, but
well, yeah.
but anyways, yeah, just share our show with people if you can. Give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast or whatever they call it these days. And until next time, folks. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.